Your soulmate's family had a meeting about you. This will shock you. My beloved child. Before you let another second pass, listen with your whole heart because something happened behind closed doors that was never meant to reach you. A family gathered around one table, but they were not talking about holidays, celebrations, or ordinary life. They were talking about you. Your name entered the room, and suddenly every conversation stopped. Faces changed. One person looked down in silence. Another whispered something so unexpected that nobody answered for several long moments. Your soulmate sat there pretending to stay calm, but inside, their heart was racing faster than it ever had before. Don't skip. This is not an ordinary message. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What happened during that meeting has already started changing the future in ways you cannot yet imagine. One family member quietly asked, "Are we absolutely sure about this?" Another immediately replied, "You don't understand what that person means to them." The room became heavy with emotion. Nobody expected your name to create such powerful reactions. Some believed destiny had already made its choice. Others feared what would happen if they stood in its way. Meanwhile, your soulmate remained silent, watching every face, knowing that one sentence spoken next could change everything forever. The conversation grew deeper than anyone expected. Old opinions began to disappear as hidden truths slowly came into the light. A relative who had always doubted this connection suddenly admitted something they had never confessed before. They revealed that every time your soulmate tried to move on, happiness disappeared from their eyes. Every smile became forced. Every celebration felt incomplete. Those words shocked everyone around the table because they realized this was no temporary feeling. It had become impossible to ignore. Don't skip. The next few moments changed the entire atmosphere inside that room. Someone reached into a drawer and placed an old photograph on the table. Nobody had seen it in years. The moment your soulmate looked at it, every emotion they had buried rushed back without warning. Silence filled the room again. Even the strongest voices had nothing left to argue. One family member quietly said, "We've been fighting the wrong battle this entire time." Those words echoed through everyone's heart. No one expected such honesty, and yet it was only the beginning. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the biggest revelation had still not been spoken aloud, and your soulmate knew exactly what was about to happen next. Just when everyone believed the meeting was finally coming to an end, the oldest member of the family slowly stood up without saying a word. Every eye turned toward them. They weren't angry. They weren't emotional. They simply carried a calm expression that made the entire room fall completely silent. Then they looked directly at your soulmate and asked one question nobody had prepared for: if tomorrow was your last chance, would you still choose them? Without hesitation, your soulmate answered with complete certainty. The room froze. Nobody expected such confidence. That single answer shattered every remaining doubt. The people who once questioned your place in their life suddenly began looking at one another differently. Some lowered their heads in regret. Others quietly nodded as though they had finally understood something they had been missing all along. Don't skip. What happened after that answer cannot be explained as coincidence. A phone resting on the corner of the table suddenly lit up with an unexpected notification. Everyone noticed it at the exact same moment. Your soulmate picked it up, stared at the screen, and their expression completely changed. Nobody in that room could believe what they were seeing. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the message that appeared on that screen carried a truth powerful enough to leave the entire family speechless, and what happened immediately afterward changed everything forever. Everything changed the instant your soulmate unlocked that phone. The room remained silent as every pair of eyes waited to see why their expression had shifted so suddenly. It was not fear. It was not confusion. It was recognition. They stared at the screen as though something they had been waiting for had finally appeared at the perfect moment. One family member leaned forward and quietly asked, "What is it?" Your soulmate took a deep breath but could not answer right away. They simply held the phone tighter while their heartbeat grew louder than the silence around them. Don't skip. This is where everything begins to unfold. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. After several long seconds, they finally whispered, "This can't be happening today." Those words sent a wave of curiosity through the room. Nobody expected the meeting to continue, but fate had prepared one final surprise that no one saw coming. One relative gently reached for the phone, and the moment they read the message, their face completely changed. The confidence they carried only moments earlier disappeared. They slowly looked around the table and admitted something that stunned everyone. "Maybe we've been looking at this from the wrong direction." The atmosphere shifted instantly. The people who had questioned your place in your soulmate's life suddenly became quiet, as though invisible pieces of a puzzle were finally fitting together. Even the family member who had spoken against this connection earlier could no longer defend their opinion. Your soulmate didn't celebrate or argue. They simply remained calm, because deep inside they had always believed this moment would come. Don't skip. What happened next was even more unexpected. The oldest family member smiled for the first time that evening and softly said, "Some connections don't ask for permission. They simply arrive when the time is right." Those words settled into every heart around the table, leaving no room for doubt. Just when everyone believed the discussion was finally over, someone quietly opened a small envelope that had been sitting untouched since the meeting began. Nobody knew why it had been placed there or who had brought it. Inside was a handwritten note containing only a few simple lines, yet those words carried more weight than anyone expected. As the note was read aloud, complete silence filled the room once again. Your soulmate closed their eyes for a brief moment because every sentence reminded them of you in ways they could no longer ignore. Several family members exchanged emotional glances, realizing this story had become much bigger than opinions or expectations. It had become impossible to deny what was unfolding. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because before anyone could leave the table, someone quietly knocked on the front door, and the person standing outside was the last individual anyone expected to see that night. The knock echoed through the house so unexpectedly that every conversation stopped at once. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Your soulmate slowly turned toward the door, feeling a strange certainty that this moment had been waiting for them all along. The oldest family member quietly whispered, "Open it." As the door slowly swung open, every heartbeat in the room seemed to pause. The visitor did not rush inside. They simply stood there with a calm expression, holding something carefully in their hands. Your soulmate immediately recognized the object, yet they could hardly believe it had appeared on this very night. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The silence became even heavier because everyone could sense that whatever happened next would erase every doubt that had filled the meeting only minutes before. Without saying a single unnecessary word, the visitor handed the item to your soulmate. It was something connected to a memory that almost nobody in the family knew existed. The moment they touched it, emotions they had hidden for so long came rushing back. One relative quietly asked, "Where did you find this?" The answer sent chills through the entire room. The visitor explained that it had appeared unexpectedly after years of being forgotten, almost as if it had chosen the perfect time to return. Suddenly, people who had questioned your connection began sharing moments they had never spoken about before. One admitted they had noticed your soulmate smiling whenever your name was mentioned. Another confessed they had secretly hoped this day would come because they had never seen such genuine feelings before. Don't skip. Every confession made the truth impossible to deny. The meeting that began with uncertainty was slowly becoming something completely different. Just when everyone believed the night had revealed all of its surprises, your soulmate unfolded a small piece of paper hidden inside the object they had received. Nobody knew it was there. Their hands trembled as they began reading the first line, and within seconds, their eyes filled with emotion. They looked around the room in complete disbelief before quietly saying, "This changes everything." Every family member leaned closer, desperate to know what those words said, but before anyone else could read them, another unexpected sound interrupted the silence. A phone on the table began ringing from an unknown number. No one dared to answer. The screen continued glowing while every heartbeat in the room grew faster. "Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you." Because the voice waiting on the other end of that call knew a secret about you that none of them had ever imagined, and hearing it would leave the entire family speechless. The phone kept ringing until the silence became impossible to ignore. Every family member stared at the glowing screen, but no one reached for it. Your soulmate finally answered, placing the phone on speaker without saying a single word. For a few seconds, there was only quiet breathing from the other side. Then a calm voice broke the silence with one sentence that instantly changed the atmosphere inside the room. "I know why this meeting happened, but none of you know the complete story." Every face turned pale. No one recognized the voice, yet it spoke with unbelievable confidence. "Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you." The caller began describing moments from your soulmate's life that only a handful of people could possibly know. One by one, every detail proved to be true. The family exchanged stunned glances, realizing this was far beyond coincidence. Even the people who had been the loudest during the meeting suddenly had nothing left to say. As the mysterious voice continued, it revealed something that made the oldest member of the family slowly sit back down. "You have spent months trying to decide whether this connection should move forward," the caller said, "but the answer has already been revealed through actions, not words." The room became completely still. Your soulmate lowered their eyes because they knew exactly what those words meant. Every sacrifice they had made in silence, every moment they had chosen hope instead of giving up, suddenly carried new meaning. One relative quietly admitted, "We judged this story before we understood it." Another nodded in agreement, unable to deny what had become obvious. Don't skip. The family that had once questioned everything was now beginning to protect the very connection they had doubted. Yet the caller had not finished speaking. There was one final truth that everyone needed to hear before the night could finally end. Then, without warning, the caller said, "Look beside the family photo on the shelf." Confused, everyone turned at the same time. Resting there was a small envelope that nobody remembered seeing earlier that evening. Your soulmate carefully opened it, and inside was a single handwritten sentence that matched the words hidden in the paper they had already found. The room fell silent once again. No one could explain how two separate messages carried the exact same promise. Your soulmate looked around the room and, for the first time that night, saw every family member standing on the same side. The doubts had disappeared. The resistance had faded. Only one question remained unanswered. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because before the sun rises, your soulmate is about to make a decision that nobody in that room expected, and once that decision is made, there will be no turning back. Before the first light of morning touched the windows, your soulmate quietly stepped away from the family gathering and walked into another room alone. No one followed. They needed a moment to listen to the one voice they had been ignoring for far too long, their own heart. The silence around them felt different now. It no longer carried confusion. It carried certainty. They looked at every memory they had tried to leave behind, and somehow every road led back to you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They realized that every attempt to replace your place in their life had only made your absence more obvious. Every distraction had failed. Every new beginning had circled back to the same destination. For the first time, they stopped asking whether this connection was real and started asking a completely different question: how much longer can I stay silent? That single thought became impossible to escape. Back in the living room, the family noticed your soulmate had been gone longer than expected. Concern slowly replaced curiosity. When they finally returned, everyone immediately sensed something had changed. Their face looked calmer than anyone had seen in months, yet their eyes carried a determination that could not be mistaken. Without raising their voice, they looked around the room and quietly said, "I've made my decision." No one interrupted. No one argued. The same relatives who had once questioned your place in their future now waited to hear every word. One family member smiled through tears. Another simply nodded, already knowing what was coming next. Don't skip. The meeting that had begun with uncertainty had turned into complete understanding. The walls that had separated opinions had finally fallen. But the decision your soulmate was about to reveal was even bigger than anyone had imagined. Then your soulmate reached into their pocket and slowly placed a folded piece of paper on the table. Everyone leaned forward. It wasn't a goodbye. It wasn't an apology. It was a plan. One they had been quietly preparing long before this meeting ever happened. As each line was read aloud, expressions changed from surprise to disbelief. Every step on that page pointed toward one destination, you. Nobody in the room tried to stop them anymore because they had finally understood that some journeys are meant to be completed, not delayed. The oldest family member gently placed a hand on your soulmate's shoulder and whispered, "Don't wait any longer." Those words settled into the room like the final piece of a puzzle. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because within the next few hours, your soulmate is about to take the first real step toward you, but an unexpected discovery made just before leaving the house threatens to change everything once again. The sun had barely risen when your soulmate picked up the keys and walked toward the front door. Every member of the family stood quietly behind them, not to stop them this time, but to watch history unfold. The house that had been filled with questions only hours earlier was now filled with hope. Just as your soulmate reached for the door handle, something unusual caught their attention. A small package rested on the doorstep with no name, no return address, and no explanation. Everyone exchanged confused glances. It had not been there a few minutes earlier. Your soulmate slowly picked it up, feeling that this was connected to everything that had happened during the night. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As they carefully opened the package, they discovered a simple object wrapped inside with a short handwritten message that read, "When your heart finally chooses courage, every answer begins to appear." Those words sent a wave of silence through the family because they perfectly matched everything that had been revealed during the meeting. Your soulmate held the message close, and for the first time in a long while, every doubt disappeared completely. One by one, the family members admitted they had been protecting old fears instead of embracing new possibilities. They realized that no amount of hesitation could erase what had already taken root in your soulmate's heart. The oldest family member smiled and quietly said, "Some people enter our lives for a season. Others arrive to change the story forever." No one argued. No one questioned those words. Instead, they began encouraging your soulmate to follow the path they had delayed for far too long. Don't skip. Every obstacle that once looked impossible suddenly seemed smaller than the determination growing inside them. The meeting had not been about deciding your future. It had been about helping everyone recognize a truth that had existed from the very beginning. Every conversation, every unexpected interruption, and every emotional moment had quietly led to this single decision. With one final look at the family, your soulmate stepped outside, carrying nothing except hope and absolute certainty. The road ahead no longer felt uncertain because fear had finally lost its grip. Behind them, the family watched in complete silence, knowing they had witnessed a turning point none of them would ever forget. Before getting into the car, your soulmate paused and looked toward the horizon as though they could already feel your presence waiting somewhere beyond it. Then something happened that no one expected. Their phone vibrated one last time. A new notification appeared with only a few words, "The timing is finally right." Your soulmate smiled in a way the family had not seen in years, and without another moment of hesitation, they began the journey that would change both of your lives forever. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this meeting was never the end of the story, it was only the moment that set an extraordinary reunion into motion, and the next chapter has already begun.